Well, hello. Hi, this is Cheryl Cleveland coming back to you again. And this is Coffee, Chaos, and Grace. And I am here for day 3. I'm probably going to stop saying what day it is soon enough. But if this is still relatively new, both to you and to me. And so, yeah, I'm just going to keep saying, okay, this is day 3. So bear with me. I am working on just making sure that I'm keeping things succinct. I have a tendency sometimes to kind of go off topic, and I apologize. I'm going to try and keep myself honed in so that you're not trying to like skip ahead, skip ahead. I know I do that too. Today, we're going to be talking about what it's like to be a mom of 6 children, because that's me. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to give you my whole story in another episode because of the fact that it's a long story. And today I really want to just concentrate on the chaos and the grace part of it. Okay. And I've got my coffee too, so we'll still have that. But talking about my 6 children, now let me just give you the layout. We had one about a little less than a year after we got married. We miscarried a year and a half later. And that was really devastating. And again, we'll talk more about that too another time because I think that's an important topic that a lot of times people just don't talk about. And it's important to understand just kind of what happens to you as a potential mom or as a family when that happens. But we decided we were going to actually look at adoption. And again, that's a whole story. So I'm just going to kind of skip ahead. When we adopted a sibling group of 4 children. They were all siblings, same mom, some different daddies in there. And that was an interesting thing all by itself. Now, what happened then was soon after we got the kids living with us, I got pregnant again. So we went from 1 to 6 children in the course of a year. A little crazy. And I will tell you that that there were 13 years between the oldest and my youngest after we had her, which is chaos in and of itself, right? But if you look at that, we had a teenager and a toddler at the same time. Now, you may be in that same situation, but it is a little bit crazy, right? Because you really have to deal in a couple of different mindsets with that. Anyway, there were some hard lessons that got learned being the parent of that. Now, I've had many people say to me, oh my gosh, I have trouble handling 2. How'd you handle 6? The answer is not very well some of the time, right? It's really hard to not every now and then get a little bit selfish and go, what about me? What about me time? And you really literally have very little time for yourself in that. You have very little time for yourselves as a couple as well. So that made it interesting. But I have to tell you that even though things were not perfect, like I really wanted to love each of the children in their own way, separately, and just for who they were, right? That was kind of my goal. And a lot of times I failed at that miserably. There were definite favorites. And I'm just being completely honest with you. Ones that were more my personality definitely got more of my time. And I'm saying that, first of all, just to be honest with myself. And secondly, to let you understand that I think we have to give ourselves some grace for that, right? So anyway, that did happen. Sometimes I remember some of my worst things that I felt like I did as a parent, some of the neglect that I feel like I did. And to talk to my children, most of them, and I say most of them because my relationship with all of my children is not fabulous. I have one that I'm pretty estranged from. But for most of my kids, they come back and they say, oh no, you were loving and you were kind, you were attentive. And thank God that they forget those moments that I remember, right? Because I think sometimes our brains will do that. They'll kind of allow us to remember the best things that happened. And so, yeah, I'm going to give myself grace for that. And if you're struggling with your issues when it comes to parenting as well, give yourself some grace for that, right? I think it's good to own it. I think it's good to understand that maybe that is something you did, especially if your kids come back to you at another time and they say, you know, when you, it really made me feel, right? Whatever. It's good to own it. It's good to say, yeah, I'm sorry that I did that. Or I acknowledge that there were times when I was so not perfect, right? I think it's important that we do that. And it really can bring peace to the relationships. It's interesting too, because out of my 6 children, 4 of them are now parents. And I think too, as they become parents, they have been more and more forgiving of me for things that I did when they were growing up, because they're understanding. I know I coined the phrase learn while you earn. Okay, I'm sure I didn't make that up, but that's kind of how I feel about parenting. A lot of times you are just doing the very best you can and going with the flow as it goes, right? And just learning as you go. And I think that as your children become parents, they realize that you were just doing what you could do and making the best of the situation that you were in at the time. I'm now a grandma. I am a grandma of 10. Out of the 4 children that I have 10 grandchildren. That's been an interesting road as well. And again, as we get to know each other, I'll tell you more about that. But I want to know more about you. If you want to comment and just tell me situations that you've been in, I think, I don't want to say misery loves company, but I think that we all love being understood and putting out there our own situations, right? So I am so glad, though, that my relationship with my children is in the place that it is in. I am a grandparent to my grandbabies. I am there for them. They know that if they need something, even though many of them do not live near me anymore, that they can reach out and that I am there with a listening ear and in whatever capacity I can be for them, because I do. I love them with my heart. Okay. Anyway, I just want to tell you just a brief story about my kids when they were young. I was pregnant, actually. So this is soon after we adopted the kids. I was pregnant with our last child, and we used to do something we called the big shop. If my kids were talking to you right now, they would probably go, oh, the big shop. I mean, they totally remember that, right? The big shop was when we would go about once a month to this giant store, big box store called Meijer that was close to us in Indiana. And we would go there and we would do all of our big shopping, right? Like we took 2 carts, we'd each split up and take half of the kids with us, and we would go and we would do the shop. So I remember this time when we were doing that, and we lost one of our kids. We lost the youngest one, and we had no idea where she went. Like, one of us thought that she was with the other one and vice versa, and we got back together and neither one of us had her. And so I'm, of course, panicked. I'm pregnant and, hormones. And so anyway, I go to the front of the store and we do one of those code Adams because we don't know where our kid is. And pretty soon this lady comes up and she says, is this your little girl? And I am sobbing because yes, it is. And she has with her the bags, the plastic bags that you get when you go around to the produce. And she has like one or two of many different things in each of these bags that she's holding. And she says to us, "I'm sorry, but I was getting the baby vegetables." Yeah, she was getting vegetables for the baby. Oh, okay. First of all, I will remember that story forever. It is ingrained in me, but it's one of those things where you just look at that and you go, oh my gosh. That daughter now is in the process. She's getting married in November, and I am so happy for her. But I always look back and I think about that girl who cared enough about her mama that she wanted to get vegetables for the baby. So anyway, that's my big story about that. I have been having such a great time talking to you. I really appreciate you. I would love it if you would comment, if you would like this video, if you'd subscribe to the channel, become part of our Facebook group. If you just look on Facebook at Coffee, Chaos, and Grace, you can find us there. If you have any trouble with that, comment, let me know. I will give you a link to that. But please just keep joining me. I appreciate it. And just know that we all need to feel that group, that camaraderie, and that's what we're here for. Okay, we're here to support you in any way we can. And if you could, like I said, just comment, let me know things that you'd like for me to talk about. And as we get further into this journey, we will start doing lives where we can literally have conversations. Okay, that's it for today. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Thank you so much again. Like, subscribe so that we can get this out and we can become that community that I know that we can be. All right. Thanks again so much. And you have an awesome day. Give yourself some grace today. Bye.